9 Languages Discovered. The incredible journey of a black housekeeper's son shocks a wealthy Arab. Malik stood at the edge of his neighborhood, eyes fixed on the shimmering skyline of Atlanta. The colors of dawn splashed across the horizon like a canvas waiting for a masterpiece. He could feel the cool air brush against his skin while his heart raced, brimming with potential and the weight of expectations. His mother had worked countless hours as a housekeeper, her hands rough from labor, all to give him a chance at something bigger than their cramped apartment filled with memories of struggle. He had learned 9 languages, each word a bridge to a world outside his own. School had always been a small sanctuary where his talents could shine, but now he was stepping into a whole new realm. Malik's scholarship to that prestigious prep school had sent ripples through the community. A boy with no riches but a mind that sparkles like gold, one neighbor had said, pride in every word. With each step toward that fancy campus, he felt both excitement and a knot of fear clenching in his stomach. As he walked through the gates, the polished buildings towered over him like giants. The air smelled of fresh-cut grass and opportunity, but it was also thick with an undercurrent of judgment. He was a fish out of water, his skin darker than most around him, their confident laughter echoing like a reminder of their privilege. Days passed, and during a lunchtime conversation, Malik met Sammy, who seemed to equally navigate 2 worlds, one of wealth and one of family expectation. Their friendship grew amidst the murmurings of their peers, but Malik soon found that even in this new space of promise, biases lingered beneath the surface. On a fateful afternoon, during a heated debate about immigration policies, Malik's hands shook. He could feel the weight of eyes drilling into him, assumptions swirling unchecked, their words steeped in preconceptions. Just before he spoke, his chest tightened, memories of his mother's sacrifices igniting a fire within. "You don't see me," he shouted. "You don't know my story." Silence fell thick like a fog. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Malik's words stirred something in Sammy, resurfacing unspoken truths about their own identities. With a heart pounding like a drum, Malik leaned into that discomfort. Together, they forged a bond over shared struggles and dreams that seemed impossibly far away. But the noise of their friendship echoed in Malik's mind as pressure from home tugged at his resolve. "Just stay steady, Malik," his mother would say. Did she know he was yearning for something else, something that felt like freedom? As he stood at the crossroads of comfort and ambition, burdened by the expectations of his roots and the weight of his dreams, he could only hope that their friendship was not bound by the differences that sought to divide them. Would he rise above the chasms of prejudice that separated their worlds? With uncertainty drafting his future, Malik took a deep breath, ready to leap into the unknown, wondering if he truly could defy the odds set against him. The next day, the sun hung higher and brighter, but Malik's sense of dread was equally intense. The aftermath of his outburst lingered like a storm cloud overhead. Students whispered in hallways, their sidelong glances sharp and cutting. As he sat at lunch, the buzz of conversation surrounding him felt different, agitated and charged. Sammy joined him, a tinge of concern in his eyes, as if he felt the unsettling weight of it too. "Hey," Sammy said, settling across from Malik, his tray clattering lightly on the table. "How are you holding up?" Malik shrugged. "I don't know. I guess I just stirred something up." A smirk played on Sammy's lips, trying to lighten the mood. "You mean, you actually spoke your mind? That's a win in my book." But Malik's eyes drifted beyond the laughter of their peers. "It's not a win if it costs me everything." Silence enveloped their table as thoughts raced. Sammy fidgeted with his fork, then leaned in. "My family talks a lot about perceptions. It can be easier for me to go back and forth. For you, It's more than that. Malik nodded, feeling the weight of those words. Every time I open my mouth, I feel like I'm playing a game where the rules don't even consider me. I get it, Sammy replied, determination in his voice. But remember what you said about not being seen. You have a story. Make them listen. Fueled by Sammy's support, Malik grasped the remnants of his courage. That evening, he found himself curled up on his bed, his heart still racing from earlier but with flickers of resolve igniting. He dove into his thoughts, scribbling down feelings and ideas, every word unlocking a piece of his identity. The act of writing felt liberating, a way to pour everything out and move forward. The next day, he stood before his classmates again, this time with more intention. The debate topic shifted from immigration to something broader, identity and belonging. As he spoke, something clicked within him. The risks he had feared shifted into the power of his voice, echoing through the room. I may not fit the mold of what you expect, Malik urged, feeling the warmth of vulnerability wash over him. But I have stories, 9 languages and a life filled with experiences that deserve to be shared. We are more than labels. Each of us carries a tale that can change how we see each other. For a moment, the classroom was utterly still. Eyes that once dismissed him now bore witness to his truth. He continued, words weaving a tapestry of his life, his mother's sacrifices, the laughter and tears of his community. As he spoke, the knots in his stomach released into a sense of liberation. Later, as he left the classroom, Malik was approached by a girl he'd never spoken to before. Her big, brown eyes were wide as she looked at him. That was amazing. I never knew. A smile broke across Malik's face. It wasn't quite redemption, but it felt like a step forward, an opening amidst the walls of prejudice. Sammy came up, patting Malik on the back. Told you, he said with a grin, energy buzzing between them, but doubts lingered, questions fluttering in Malik's mind. What if opening up just made the barriers taller? As he stared ahead, the sun setting in fiery hues, he had to wonder, was this the first step toward understanding, or just the start of a far more difficult journey? He fought against the swirl of uncertainty, eager to forge a path ahead, but deep down, the fear of failure still loomed, whispering doubts that traveled faster than any language he could master. In this journey toward acceptance, was he strong enough to face whatever came next? Malik woke up the next morning, the sun spilling into his room, illuminating his scattered notes from last night. He still felt that rush of adrenaline from his speech, but it was quickly dimmed by an undercurrent of anxiety. His classmates had shown interest, but would that interest last? Could he really drive change? As he poured himself a bowl of cereal, his mother caught his eye. She was bent over her phone, probably scrolling through the day's news, a habit of hers since she worked 2 jobs. Malik hated to burden her with his worries, but the weight of expectation was thick in the air. Mom, can I talk to you? He asked hesitantly, swirling his spoon in the bowl. She looked up, her expression softening. Of course, sweetie. What's on your mind? He hesitated, balancing on the edge of vulnerability. I spoke in class yesterday about who I am. It felt good, but now I'm scared about what comes next. A gentle smile spread across her face. You've always had a voice, Malik. I've watched you from the day you first spoke up at the dinner table, telling stories that made us laugh. Don't let fear drown it out. Her words wrapped around him like a warm blanket, easing some of the doubt. With a sigh, he sank into the chair, feeling lighter just by sharing. By the time school began, Malik was bracing for the aftermath of his words. As he navigated the corridors, he caught snippets of conversations swirling around him. Some students pointed, others whispered. They weren't looking at him like he was invisible anymore, but the attention felt unbearable at times. In chemistry class, Malik noticed everyone was more engaged, even his lab partner, Claire, a quiet girl who usually kept to herself. As they mixed solutions, she glanced at him. You spoke really well yesterday. I didn't know that about you. Thanks, he replied, surprised but heartened. It's just what I felt, you know? I totally get it. Sometimes it takes guts to share your story. She looked at him with a sincerity that caught him off guard. Can I ask something? He nodded, unsure but curious. Why do you think people have such a hard time seeing each other? That question caught him off guard. I think maybe it's easier to hide behind labels. It's safe to pretend we know someone because of their color or background. She pondered his answer, then nodded. It's really brave of you to push those boundaries. It makes me want to open up more too. For the first time, Malik felt like his voice sparked something in someone else. Was this connection the breakthrough he'd been wanting? As the day wore on, however, the admiration he felt started to twist into worry. What if everyone wasn't ready for change? During gym class, things took a turn. A group of boys crowded around him, their laughter hollow and pointed. Aren't you the identity guy now? One of them sneered. Tell us about your 9 languages. Can you teach them to us while being the epic failure you are? His heart raced, anger bubbling beneath the surface. For a moment, he lost his voice, a deep fear gnawing at him. Would he just become a target now, a spectacle for others to mock? Malik took a breath, feeling Sammy's words echoing in his mind. This was the moment to stand his ground. Actually, I'd be glad to teach you, he said, surprising himself with his composed tone. But not just languages, how about compassion and understanding? He didn't stay to see their reaction. Instead, Malik walked away, the adrenaline rushing through his veins. Out of the corner of his eye, he noticed nods from some classmates nearby, ones who may have once sided with the crowd but now looked ready to step up. In that moment, he felt a shift. Did he just push back against prejudice? As he stepped outside, a cool breeze brushed against his skin. He felt both eager and terrified of what lay ahead. Was lifting the curtain on his life going to bring more shadows? Or would it shine a light on the stories he so desperately wanted to share? Malik walked with newfound determination, but there was still a storm brewing inside him. Would courage be enough to navigate the challenges ahead? The answers felt closer each day, yet so far away. The next morning, Malik woke up to the sound of his alarm blaring, its shrill tone cutting through the remnants of his dreams. He sat up, rubbing sleep from his eyes, still tinged with the earlier adrenaline. Today was the day he'd meet with the student council. This meeting wasn't just another activity on the calendar, it felt monumental. He dressed quickly, the fleeting moments of hesitation creeping back as he prepared for the discussions ahead. As he made his way to school, Malik couldn't shake the interactions of the previous day. Standing up to the boys had felt powerful, but doubt niggled at the back of his mind. Did that moment really matter? Or was he just fooling himself? He shook his head, willing those thoughts away. He needed to focus. When Malik arrived at school, he was surprised to find a group of students gathered outside the student council room. Claire was one of them. Hey, Malik. She called out, waving him over. Are you ready for today? I think so, he replied, keeping his voice steady despite the fluttering in his stomach. She looked at him with an intensity that felt supportive. I had a thought after yesterday. What if we put together a presentation on the importance of empathy? I feel like others could really benefit from hearing it. Malik's heart swelled. That's a great idea. But do you think they'll listen? Of course they will. Especially if it comes from someone like you. Claire's confidence lit a fire inside him. The mingling crowd seemed to shift, their collective curiosity directed toward Malik. Their whispers were quieter now, but he still felt the weight of their stares. This is your chance to reach them. You can help change their perspective, she added. As they entered the room, Malik felt the energy buzzing in the air. Students were gathered, all looking to voice their opinions, perhaps even their fears. He took a seat at the front, scanning the group, his hands clammy and heart racing. When the council members called him up to share ideas, he felt a rush of oxygen and adrenaline collide. After a few presentations began, Malik heard a voice rise above the others. "Can we focus on real issues?" A boy named Douglas challenged the room, his brow furrowed. "All this talk doesn't change anything. Words are pointless." Malik felt the tension spiral in the air. Was this boy right? He took a deep breath, thinking of everything he had prepared. "Words do matter," he said, his voice stronger than he expected. "Sometimes, they're the first step. Like a seed that needs nurturing. If no one plants it, nothing will ever grow." His gaze swept over the room, met with eyes wide and attentive, some even nodding along. Douglas scoffed, but Malik held his ground. "But if we can connect with one another, understand where we come from, imagine what could blossom from that. We can change the narrative." He felt bold, like a writer penning a story that could shift the course of their lives. The council members looked impressed. After Malik spoke, Claire stood beside him. "We have so much more to learn from each other. Listening is just as vital as speaking." The meeting shifted from hostility to inquisitiveness. Hands raised, voices chimed in, and suddenly everyone wanted to share ideas, thoughts, and stories. Each person poured out their unique perspectives, from quiet experiences to loud truths that shook the room. Malik felt a swell of gratitude amid the discussions. It was like a tapestry slowly unfolding, but even as the conversation flowed, amid the spirited debate, he sensed something lurking beneath the surface. He noticed the boys who had tormented him now in a huddle, whispering, eyes narrowed. What were they planning? Would those whispered conversations turn into another attack? As Malik prepared to wrap up the meeting, he couldn't shake the feeling that a storm was brewing again. Would his moment of courage inspire real change, or would he just feel the backlash? Either way, he knew one thing for certain: he was ready to face whatever was coming his way, and he wouldn't back down. Malik stepped outside, the sun breaking through the clouds above. It warmed his face, filling him with a renewed determination. Just as he was about to take a breath of relief, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out to see a message flash on the screen from someone unexpected: "We need to talk. Now." His heart dropped. What did they want? Who was reaching out? And why did it all feel like it was unraveling again? Malik's fingers trembled slightly as he read the message. The screen illuminated his face with the starkness of the words. "We need to talk. Now." He couldn't help but feel a knot tightening in his stomach. The phone felt heavier in his hand, a bridge to uncertainty he was not sure he wanted to cross. He glanced around the school courtyard, searching for a familiar face. Maybe Claire was nearby, still riding the high of their impassioned meeting. As he scanned the scene, though, his gaze drifted back to where Douglas and his friends were still huddled together, their laughter a low rumble. The way they turned to look at Malik, eyes filled with mischievous intent, sent a shiver down his spine. His breath quickened. Just then, a figure moved into his line of sight. It was Claire, walking toward him with purpose, that bright smile still lighting up her face. For a moment, her energy grounded him. "Malik. Did you see that? The way everyone reacted to our ideas," she exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over. But then she noticed the frown on his face. "What's wrong?" He hesitated, unsure if he should share the message. "It's just I got a text. From someone I didn't expect." Claire stepped closer, her tone shifting to concern. "Who? Is everything okay?" Malik took a deep breath. "I don't know. It feels like something's about to go down. I just don't want to deal with any of the boys right now. Especially Douglas." Her eyes softened as she placed a hand on his shoulder. "You've got this, Malik. Just remember how you stood up today. Don't let anyone take away that courage." Her words wrapped around him like a warm blanket, but the urgency in the text loomed large. "Thanks, Claire. I just need a moment." As she stepped back, he felt a wave of appreciation wash over him. The message was still there, pinging in his mind, urging him to respond. After a few moments of gathering himself, he quickly typed a reply, "What's this about?" Blood pulsed in his ears as he waited, and to distract himself, he turned back to the council room, its door now slightly ajar. The echoes of passionate discussion still floated out. He wanted to join them, to immerse himself back in that wave of energy. Yet here he was, stuck in this limbo, heart racing as he felt caught between contradicting worlds. His phone buzzed again, breaking his thoughts. It was a response. "Meet me behind the gym. 5 minutes." His heart sank. Meeting behind the gym? It felt like a trap. He considered bailing, leaving the phone in his pocket and blending back into the safety of the crowd. But another part of him recognized the same spirit he had summoned during the council meeting. To back down now would be a step backwards. "The moment you shy away is the moment everything you've done loses meaning," he muttered under his breath. Boldness coursed through him again. This was his opportunity to find out what they were plotting, to face the shadows that had haunted him for too long. Malik's footsteps echoed as he made his way around the side of the building, anxiety twisting in his gut like a coiled spring. When he reached the gym, the world around him felt quieter, as if the air hummed with tension. He anticipated the confrontation like a thunderstorm rolling in, the kind that promises to break the sky wide open. As he rounded the corner, Douglas and his friends waited, leaning casually against the wall, their smirks revealing nothing about the intentions behind those laughing eyes. "Look who finally decided to show up," Douglas said, his tone dripping with sarcasm. The smile on his face didn't reach his eyes, and Malik felt the weight of those gazes locked onto him, the collective judgment heavy as lead. Just as Malik opened his mouth to respond, an unexpected voice rang out, causing him to freeze in place. "What is going on here?" His heart sank deeper. It was Claire, stepping into the fray, determination etched across her features. He couldn't believe his eyes. The air crackled with the tension between them, and Malik realized he was no longer alone in this battle. As he glanced at his ally, he understood. Whatever was about to unfold, he would stand his ground not just for himself, but for all the moments that had brought him here. What would happen next? Would they rise together or fall apart under pressure? Malik stood frozen, heart racing as Claire's presence transformed the energy around them. Douglas shifted, annoyance flickering across his face, the smugness momentarily waning. "This doesn't concern you, Claire," he sneered, but she held her ground, eyes blazing with defiance. "I'm not backing down. If you have something to say to Malik, you can say it to both of us," Claire declared, her voice steady. It was a clear challenge, and it sent a jolt of strength through Malik. For the first time, he felt a sense of unity that countered the swirl of anxiety. Douglas laughed, a harsh sound that didn't reach the warmth of his eyes. "You think you can step in and protect him? What is this, a fairy tale?" His friends chuckled, sharing in the mockery. Malik took a step forward, sensing the shift in their dynamic. "Let's cut to the chase, Douglas. What do you want?" His voice was firmer than he expected, the words a shield against the tension in the air. The world around them faded, shifting into a narrow tunnel where only the five of them existed. Douglas smirked, glancing at his friends as if they were waiting for a signal. "I wanted to see if you're really willing to stand up for yourself. Or if you're just all talk." He stepped closer, the confidence in his posture masking the undercurrent of intimidation. "Enough games, Douglas," Claire interjected. "Stop hiding behind insults. Just say what you came here for." A beat of silence lingered, heavy with tension. "Fine," Douglas said, crossing his arms defiantly. "I want to see if you're really part of this council or if you're just pretending." His friends snickered, but Malik felt a flicker of indignation ignite within him. "I'm not here to impress you," Malik snapped. "I'm here to make a difference. This isn't about you." The fire in his words surprised even him, but it wasn't just anger, it was a passion that stirred something deep within. Douglas's smirk faltered for a heartbeat, and for the first time, doubt flickered across his features. But before he could respond, Claire stepped up beside Malik, strength radiating from her as she placed a hand on his back. "He's doing this for us, for our school. We can't let you tear that down." Malik looked at her, gratitude swelling in his chest. She wasn't just defending him, she was igniting something within him that he never fully accepted before. "Why don't we settle this?" Douglas's voice turned cool, shoving back the wall of camaraderie they were building. "A challenge. Whoever wins the debate at our next council meeting gets to steer the direction of the project." Malik's gut tightened at the thought. A public confrontation. Doubt crept in, but he shoved it back. "And if I lose?" he asked, voice steady, teeth clenched. Douglas smirked, the challenge clear in his eyes. "You drop out. Simple as that. No more counsel for you." The stakes shifted, the weight of his decision sinking heavily. Malik could feel Claire's support beside him, but the fear of failure loomed large. "Fine," Malik said, adrenaline coursing through him. "You've got yourself a challenge. But just know, I'm not backing down." As Douglas and his friends turned to walk away, a sense of determination washed over Malik. He felt alive with possibility, even amidst the uncertainty. He and Claire exchanged glances loaded with unspoken promises. They would prepare, strategize, and fight together. "Are you ready for this?" Claire asked softly. Malik took a deep breath, every nerve alive with the thrill of the impending battle. "I am." But deep inside, a question lingered: would they truly be able to change the tide together? Or would they fall prey to the very system they fought against? With the challenge set, Malik knew that their journey was just beginning, and in that moment, the spark of hope ignited as he faced what lay ahead. What strategies would they devise to stand strong against the overwhelming force that Douglas represented? Malik and Claire spent the next few days in a whirlwind of discussions, notes, and heated debates. The school library became their haven, a quiet fortress filled with books and quiet murmurs, their minds focused on dissecting every possible angle of the upcoming challenge. Books piled high on the table were marked with sticky notes, reminders of arguments they wanted to explore and points they needed to defend. "Okay, let us run through our key arguments again," Claire said, her fingers tapping on the table, excitement bubbling under her concentration. Malik nodded, feeling the electric energy between them. It was invigorating, and every plan they made solidified his growing resolve. As they rehearsed, an unexpected thought crossed Malik's mind: fear of failure was creeping in again. What if we don't win? What if Douglas is just better? Claire paused, looking straight at him. "You can't think like that, Malik. This isn't just about winning, it's about showing everyone that we're not afraid to stand up for what we believe in. Even if it doesn't go our way, we're making a statement." Her words struck a chord in him, the truth resonating deep within. They gathered feedback from trusted friends who added their insights to the mix. It felt like camaraderie was brewing against the backdrop of uncertainty. Every time they faced doubt, they leaned in together, feeding off each other's strength like a fuel that kept their fire alive. One afternoon, Claire pulled Malik aside, her expression serious. "I know Douglas thinks he has everything in control, but we have something he doesn't." Curiosity fueled Malik's attention. "What's that?" he asked, intrigued. "Unity," she replied. "When we stand together, we represent more than just ourselves. We represent everyone who believes in this project. We can change perspectives." He felt a spark ignite at her words. Together, they were a force. It was empowering to realize that their voices mattered, that they could inspire others to stand alongside them even when the odds felt stacked against them. With each passing day, Malik practiced speaking with conviction, honing his arguments until they became second nature. His voice, once a whisper hidden by doubt, grew louder, more assured. He started feeling ready, almost willing to embrace the challenge that awaited, but as the council meeting approached, anxiety clawed at him. What would happen when they stood face to face with Douglas? Would the support of his peers be enough? The uncertainty felt heavy, like a weight on his chest, the evening before the big day, Malik lay awake, staring at the ceiling, thoughts racing. He rehearsed the points they had prepared, but another thought nagged at him: if they lost, would it all be in vain? Would he still belong in the council? He flipped the light on and reached for the notebook they'd been using to sketch ideas. Flipping past the pages, he found an entry written with Claire's neat handwriting. "This is about us, not just the outcome." It was a reminder. The goal wasn't just to win. It was also to make a difference, a voice for those who felt unheard. With renewed passion, Malik fell into a deeper sleep and dreamed of standing in front of a crowd, every eye on him, the weight transforming into strength. The next day, the atmosphere in the auditorium buzzed with tension. Students packed in, the air crackling with anticipation. Malik and Claire stood together, exchanging glances of solidarity. As the council meeting commenced, Malik felt clamorous energy swirl inside him. But when Douglas rose to speak, a chilling certainty washed over him: it was about to get serious. "Let's see if you've got what it takes," Douglas said, and Malik knew they were in for the fight of their lives. Could they overcome the intimidation? Or would the flame of hope they held be snuffed out in an instant? Malik's heart raced as he watched Douglas stride confidently to the front of the auditorium. Each step echoed like a drumbeat, drowning out the whispers of anticipation around him. The crowd hung on Douglas's every word, as if they were a halo of assurance surrounding him. Malik felt the pressure on his shoulders grow heavier. This wasn't just his fight, it felt like it was Claire's, their friends, and everyone who believed in change. Claire squeezed his hand, grounding him with her presence. "Remember what we talked about," she murmured, a reminder that felt like a lifeline. He nodded, trying to steady himself. Douglas cleared his throat, exuding the kind of charisma that could sway even the most skeptical audience. "Today, we're here to determine the vision for our school. Is it one of flashy dreams, or one rooted in reality?" He glanced knowingly at Malik. "I'll give you this: some ideas sound great in theory, but they fall short when faced with practical challenges. We need sound, actionable plans, not whims." Malik's stomach twisted. Could he turn the tide? Gathering his thoughts, he and Claire had crafted a strategy, but now, standing before a skeptical crowd, those ideas felt fragile, like glass on the verge of shattering. Then Malik remembered Claire's words: "We have unity." They had shown their peers their passion, their commitment. That was what they needed to draw on now. Taking a deep breath, Malik stepped forward, feeling every pair of eyes focus on him. The auditorium quieted, the buzz of chatter fading into silence. He could almost hear his heart pounding in his ears. "Douglas is right, we need actionable plans," Malik began, forcing his voice to stay steady even as it quivered. "But we also need the courage to dream. This isn't just about numbers and frameworks. It's about creating a community where every voice is heard and valued." He glanced at Claire, who flashed him an encouraging smile. He continued, drawing energy from their shared purpose. "It's easy to play it safe, but our ideas reflect our collective hopes. They represent the struggles of students who feel overlooked, unheard." Each word awakened a passion deep within him, igniting sparks among the audience. "If we want real change, we must stand together, support each other, and challenge the status quo." The crowd seemed to shift, a ripple of interest flowing through them. Malik could see his classmates leaning forward, intrigued. For an instant, hope flickered in his chest. He nodded to Claire, who was visibly moved. But Douglas wasn't finished. He interjected, "Inspiration is one thing, results are another. Don't let your passion blind you to our limitations." The crowd hesitated, uncertainty creeping back in. Malik felt the walls closing in again. "But it's the passion that will propel us past those limitations," he shouted, surprising even himself. The urgency in his voice was raw, almost desperate. "We can't let fear dictate what we build. We owe it to ourselves to fight for every student who has felt left out." He paused, taking in the faces around him, some inspired, others skeptical. What if this isn't just about us? What if we can ignite a fire, create a wave of change in our school? Together? As Malik's words hung in the air, time seemed to stand still. He locked eyes with Douglas, who wore a condescending smirk. That expression only fueled Malik's determination. The tide was shifting, but would it be enough? The council members, visibly intrigued, began murmuring among themselves. Malik held his breath, sensing the frail thread of hope he had woven was on the verge of breaking or blossoming. This was it, the moment of truth was approaching. But as he stepped back, steeling himself for Douglas's next move, he couldn't shake the feeling that everything was on a precipice. Would they rise together, or would they come crashing down? The tension crackled like static in the air, every eye was on them, every heartbeat a question. Would unity become their strength, or would it be their downfall? Malik stood at the edge of the stage, heart pounding like a warning bell. The murmurs from the crowd formed a sea of voices, each one a reminder of the stakes involved. Douglas took a step forward, unyielding against the tide of uncertainty Malik had just created. "That's inspiring, Malik," Douglas said, his tone dripping with condescension. "But inspiration alone won't fill our classrooms or protect our budget. We need cold, hard facts. We need a plan." The crowd visibly fidgeted, a ripple of doubt spreading through the auditorium. Malik felt his stomach sink. But Claire's grip on his hand tightened, a silent message that he wasn't standing alone. Taking a breath, Malik nodded to her, reinvigorated by her unwavering support. "Right," he said, addressing the crowd once more. "Douglas is right that we need a plan. But the heart of that plan has to come from us, every single one of us in this room. We can tackle budgets and agendas, but we must first remember why we're all here." He scanned the audience, locking eyes with students who had felt powerless for too long. "Each one of you has your own story, your own dreams. When we combine those dreams, we craft something powerful, something bigger than the boundaries of this school." Somewhere in the back, he spotted one of his classmates, Casey, who had hesitated at proposing a poetry slam for the school's cultural festival. Her cheeks flushed as their eyes met, and Malik saw something shift in her expression. She was listening, ready to step up. "Let us not just fill this auditorium with talk," Malik urged, emotion swelling in his chest. "Let us fill it with action. Who among you has an idea? A project? An initiative? Let us hear it." Suddenly, the atmosphere transformed. Voices began to rise, like a wave building strength. "What about the art show?" shouted someone from the front. "Or the club fairs?" chimed in another voice, louder now. Casey stood up timidly, "And the poetry slam takes us somewhere different." With each idea shared, hope swelled in Malik's heart. It wasn't just him anymore, this was their collective vision taking flight. He turned, scanning the council members, their expressions shifting from skepticism to curiosity, as if they, too, began to feel the energy in the room. Douglas's confidence faltered just a bit. He glanced at the council, eyebrows raised, as if to gauge their reaction. Malik seized the moment, fueled with the energy of his peers. "We're not just proposing, we're unleashing creativity and fostering connections that will uplift our whole community. We owe it to ourselves to keep the dialogue going, to imagine beyond our current circumstances." The audience erupted into applause, some standing for support. Malik beamed, feeling an electric connection spark between them all, a unity that felt invincible. But just as victory seemed within reach, Douglas interjected again. "Let us not rush the process," he said, his voice soothing yet firm. "Before we get carried away with dreams, let us address the feasibility of these ideas." Malik's heart dropped like a stone. Was this the moment everything fell apart? He glanced at Claire, whose face mirrored his own uncertainty. But there was also that flicker of determination. He straightened his back, ready to fight back but unsure of his next move. "Douglas," he started, trying to keep his voice steady, what if the real risk is not believing in ourselves and our potential? The auditorium held its breath, awaiting a response. Would they buy into his passion? Or would they return to fear and inaction? Malik sensed the tide building again, the audience alive with possibility. This was no longer just about a single voice. It was about a community ready to rise together. But could they push beyond the limitations laid before them? The raw tension hung in the air, every heartbeat a question. Would this moment spark their transformation, or pull them back into silence? Malik stood at the center of the auditorium, heart racing. He had poured his soul into those words, but would his classmates embrace the essence of what he tried to convey? The room held its breath. Could they unite for change, or would Douglas's doubts drown their hope? As the silence stretched, Malik scanned the faces before him. He saw Claire, her expression fierce with determination. He met Casey's gaze, her eyes sparkled with newfound confidence. Even classmates he didn't know well nodded in agreement. A swell of courage surged inside him. This was at the moment he had fought for since he stepped into that prestigious school. Every idea we create is a seed. But seeds need nurturing, Malik continued, voice steady. They need trust and community. We can't let fear hang over us like a storm cloud. We have to be the sunlight and rain our dreams need. The crowd stirred, and some students began to nod vigorously. The connection between them felt electric and alive. He pressed on, feeling the energy swell like a wave ready to crash. This is our chance. Let us come together and make those dreams a reality. Imagine the art show, the clubs, the poetry slam, all of it reflecting the voices of this community. No more hiding. No more fear. A cheer erupted from the audience, and Malik's heart soared. It felt like wildfire, one voice igniting another. Suddenly, students stood, hands shooting up, each one fueled by the momentum. Let us push for cultural events, shouted one student. How about a charity drive? Called another. Ideas flew like sparks, each one breathing life into the vision Malik desperately wanted. Amidst the noise, Douglas's brow furrowed as he struggled to regain control. Everyone, calm down, he said sharply, but his voice held less power against the rising tide. In that moment, Malik seized the opportunity. You see? He shouted, passion bursting from his core. This is what it looks like when we dare to dream. We're powerful when we come together. The applause roared louder, shaking the walls of the auditorium. A feeling of unity enveloped him, binding every heart to this cause. Malik felt liberated, no longer just the boy who walked in alone but a catalyst for change, surrounded by allies and friends. As the cacophony settled, Malik stood breathing deeply, pulse racing with every success echoing in his veins. He looked out into the sea of faces. Every person was valuable, each carrying their own story, dreams ready to be nurtured. Let us not stop here. Malik declared, his eyes gleaming. Join student council meetings. Share your ideas. Let us create a culture where every voice resonates. A legacy we can be proud of. And then from the back, there emerged a student's voice. I support you, Malik. We all do. Soon, nods turned into cheers, students rising to their feet, shouting affirmations of support. Malik glanced at Claire, pride swelling as she clapped fiercely, encouragement radiating from her. The tide had turned. They had awakened a movement, and together they were stronger. Afterward, Malik felt exhaustion wash over him, but also exhilaration. Walking out of the auditorium, responses buzzed in the air. Classmates were not merely looking at him, they were looking with respect, connection. That evening, he sat with his mother at their small kitchen table, sharing his triumph and the buzz of ideas overflowing from his classmates. Her eyes gleamed with pride. I always knew you could be a light, Malik. You've turned your story into a bridge for others. With tears in his eyes, he smiled. He hadn't just fought for himself, he fought for every voice that had been silenced. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Malik felt a weight lift. Their journey wouldn't always be easy, but together, they'd shape a better future, starting with the seeds they had planted today. This was just the beginning. Malik had transformed, now he was a voice, a beacon for all. This is your chance to witness incredible transformations. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support is everything. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. I want to hear what you think, and remember, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to share, don't wait not even one more second. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.